What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Trilogy Challenge presented by Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, and Westside Discs. You are watching Long Way to Pro, and we are in Macomb, Illinois at the Everly Glenwood Park. I want to quickly shout out my sponsor, Disc Golf America. Go check them out at Disc Golf America online for all of your disc golfing needs. Here we are starting at our hole 1, which is actually the course hole 5. We have my brother Robin, myself, Avery Lejeune, and James Johnson on the card. This is my first time taking on a 4-person card, so bear with me as we have struggles. Here is Avery Lejeune. He is a sidearm dominant player throwing the Sapphire. The Sapphire is normally, he normally throws destroyers, so he's going to have to work on the Sapphire a little bit. My brother also throwing the Sapphire, also hitting a tree. I like the inside gap on the left side with the Sapphire, hit a tree. If you're sensing a theme, that's because there is one. This is James throwing the Sapphire and hitting a tree. So we're all getting the first hole jitters out of the way by hitting early trees, myself more so than others. This is my warship trying to get it on an Anheuser. Almost fought through, but I hit yet another tree. One thing to note is that Avery likes to move fast, so we're going to miss a couple of shots from him. I don't think he wanted to be on camera very much. This is my brother throwing his second shot with the warship. As the only lefty on the card, James has a really nice gap here that kind of fades back to the right, throwing his warship. A little inside, but it just missed that last tree, giving him a circle 1 putt for the par. Throwing my EMAC Judge. Still trying to learn these discs, but the EMAC Judge is super stable for that kind of throw, leaving me edge of circle. Avery outside of circle 1, making his putt, and almost falls in for the par, I believe, but it just hits the cage. My brother, you may notice, has a unique putting stance. He puts his other foot in front. So if you notice, my front foot is the right foot. Bad putt by me. My brother's front foot, he puts as the left foot. So just an interesting putting stance for him. James cleaning up his beautiful par. Par on this hole, gets strokes on the field. This is definitely one of the harder courses, or one of the harder holes on the course, I should say. I average about 3.4 strokes, I think, on this hole playing normally, never mind Trilogy discs. So, hole number 6, 233 feet. James starts the card with a nice par. This is a hole that just plays super well to his strengths as a lefty. Throwing the warship here. That's about as perfect as you can get with that shot. He's going to be about 15 feet away for his birdie. Robin throwing sidearm with the warship and learning that he can't really trust it on that. It's just not flat enough to get a good sidearm release off of it. Avery getting this one a little high with the Sapphire. As a sidearm dominant player, Avery had a lot of adjusting to do with the discs. Throwing sidearm here for me, and I hit a tree and just bounced to edge of circle there. My brother kicked off the fairway, throwing his EMAC Judge. And that's going to be edge of circle putt for him as well. Just a little high, but that should be an easy tap in for the 4. Avery almost ringing it up. Myself, edge of circle, trying to adjust to these EMAC Judges. And I missed the putt, obviously. It was a battle all day long trying to get these discs, trying to get accustomed to it. A great birdie cleanup by James. He has a great start to the round, about as perfect as you can start on this course at a -1 through these 2 holes is pretty incredible. Cleaning up my par, my brother getting ready to tap in his bogey, and Avery Lejeune tapping in his par, I think. Going into hole number 7, this is a tough one, also one of the harder holes on the course. big sidearm or a big anhyzer on this one. James, you would think, has an advantage on this one with being a lefty, but he gets it a little high. And again, Avery moving super fast, not letting us hit the record button on the camera. Again, he's used to throwing destroyers on sidearms, so to get that full flight, he has to put it on anhyzer, and that just doesn't work with the Sapphire. Back-to-back sidearms for me. I am not a sidearm dominant player. A little bit scared of the OB, but I think I should be safe. My brother, on the other hand, is a pretty good sidearm player. He was always the sidearmer when we would play Frisbee. But he too gets it up high, and he's going to be off in the fairway. Trying to figure out what to do here. He's got the Warship in hand. This is a pretty tough place for him. Eyeing down the basket. It just doesn't kind of line up well for a shot, but he gets a good anhyzer on the Warship and almost drops it in after hitting the branches. A pretty rare backhand from Avery gets some edge of circle. This is James' first shot. He's just off the fairway, but not super far. He's got the Warship in hand, and it looks like he puts down a forehand roller, and he gets it to curl up right at the basket, but it just keeps rolling into the rough about pin high. Throwing my EMAC judge here. Get it a little inside of that tree, but it flexes back and leaves me probably about 20 feet. Avery from 20. Another interesting thing you'll see is Avery doesn't prefer the push putt. He prefers to use kind of a turbo / basketball kind of putt. But he only does it from like inside of 20 feet. So outside of 20 feet, he's forced to throw a Frisbee or throw the disc like a Frisbee, which he is not as comfortable with as he is with the turbo. Cleaning up my par on this one, that's probably taking strokes on the field with how difficult hole 7 is. My brother almost putting that one through the basket, but he taps in his par with that amazing upshot. James taps in his 4. Avery also taps in his 4. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. I wanted to take a second to review the driver of the Trilogy Challenge. This is the Latitude 64 Sapphire. Flight ratings are 10, 5, -2, 1.5. And because of the flight ratings, I came into the tournament fully expecting to hate this disc. But in reality, I actually fell in love with it due to its speed, its comfort, and its control. This disc just fits so perfectly in my hand, and it fits so perfectly in my bag. This one is staying in my bag probably for the rest of its life. It's just such an amazing disc, and it was well worth the cost of admission almost just for this one. So enjoy the rest of the video, guys. Definitely check out this disc if you're interested in a really, really great driver. So enjoy the rest of the video. All right, yeah, the Sapphire, absolutely love that disc. Here we are, hole 8, 327. This is one of the tighter holes on the course. I win the tee with a par. Sapphire in hand. Normally I like to hyzer around the right, but I just don't trust the Sapphire on a hyzer line, so I'm going to try to go turnover up the middle. There's one tree to miss right up the middle. You aim straight for it, get it to turn. It turned perfectly, and then it flexes back. That should be a look for the birdie. That is a line I don't normally throw, but it worked out that time. My brother trying to do a similar line, but he gets too much hyzer on it, gets it too high, so it kind of dies off to the left and I think hits a tree. James, the lefty line is pretty open, throwing his Sapphire here. Looks like he gets a little too much anhyzer on it, but that gets a really good distance down there. He should be about pin high. Avery going backhand, not his most comfortable throw. but it gets him up the fairway a little bit. My brother likes to do this huge spike hyzer when outside of circle 2, and he almost drains it. I would have been so mad if he made it, but he puts himself inside circle 1. James giving it a bit of a soft bid with his worship, leaves him about 15 feet. Looks like we missed Avery's second shot because he moves so fast. So this is where I ended up, and of course I found the only real bunker on the hole. So I'm trying to kind of get under it. This would be a massive birdie to pick up, but hitting cage. It was a great drive, but not being able to capitalize on the putt. There you see Avery's overhand putting technique. He's actually very proficient with that, and it's shocking to me every time he does it, and every time it goes in, I'm just like, how does that work? Here's James to clean up his par. Solid putt from about 15 feet. Here's Robin to tap in his par, I believe, and just missed tapping in my par. Hole number 9, 380 feet uphill, kind of a low ceiling if you want to kind of hyzer it up to the left on top of the hill. This one's a pretty tricky hole as well. I have the box. It's pretty easy to get up and down for par, so I'm going to try something really weird since I have an understable disc, and that's a forehand roller. I'm going to try to get it to cut up the hill, but I just get it too vertical on the landing zone, and it gets too far to the left. Doesn't really work out for me. My brother's definitely going to go backhand here. He gets it nice and low, which is exactly what you want. It's kind of stood up a little bit and hits the hard pan ground up there on the hill by the trees, and it kind of skips to maybe just outside circle 2. James trying to get over on it, just barely nicks that tree and just skies it on the ricochet. That was a really weird flight. Avery getting a nice max glide out of the disc, puts him on the hill, sets him up nice for an upshot to grab the actually quality par on this one. If you get a par, it feels pretty good on this hole. James with the worship just clips another tree, putting him about edge of circle 2, just outside. EMAC judge for me. I got it a little more inside than I wanted, but it makes it through. Puts me probably about 25 feet for the par. This is where Avery's drive landed. This is a great shot, honestly, but he just grip locks the worship and puts him about edge of circle 2, just inside circle 2, but deep and right. Here's James for par. Looks like he was laying it up, but there is, I believe, OB deep of the basket to be aware of. There's the spike hyzer putt for Robin again, and he hits the top of the basket, kind of rolls away. Avery, similar putt, just misses in front of the cage. This is me for par. I found the straddle putt worked on hole 7, but I miss weak side. You missed my aggressive tap in for bogey, as everybody called it afterwards. My brother making his quality putt for par, Avery for bogey, and James for bogey. I want to shout out the Macomb Park District for putting in those awesome new baskets. Definitely an improvement over the Mach 3s they used to have. Going to hole 10, this is another hard par 3. It's downhill, but there's not much of a line. Over the top of the trees is probably the best line, but you've got a little bit under the trees as well. It's just a tricky shot. My brother, just grip locks it. I keep trying to say something else. Grips locked? I don't know. Anyway, he grip locks it, gets it over the road, and that is OB. That's going to be a tough upshot to get in position for bogey. I just clipped the bottom of the branches, but I still get full flight out of that. That was a pretty good shot for me. Normally that's about where I end up when I try going over the top, that little U notch in the left side of the screen over the trees. James almost getting caught up in the trees, but managing to get through it and probably cut rolled a little bit as well. Here's Avery. Yep, he hit a tree. The Sapphire was not loving his sidearm today. The discs just weren't playing well for his game plan. Robin with a massive anhyzer here. You're probably going to lose the disc in the blue sky a little bit, but if you look down towards the basket, he just absolutely almost parks it from there, and that's an amazing shot with that massive anhyzer. Avery with the sidearm, trying to compensate for how much he's been turning it over, but he gets a little bit too much hyzer on that one. That's where James drive landed. Looks like that is his Sapphire again. And he's actually deep of the basket. That was a great throw. Having to miss that tree right in front of him and get it down to the basket. That was a good throw by him. Avery, the upshot with the Worship, that is parked. Looks like he'll be taking a bogey. Now this is my drive. One of my better drives on the hole. Outside of circle 2, giving it a jump putt bid. I had the height. I had the power on it, but it was just a little bit a little bit left of the basket. This is James for par after his amazing second shot, and he puts it in from about 25 to 30 feet. That was an amazing putt to clean up his par. Here's Robin, just off the cage. He'll have a tap-in par. This is me from about 15 to clean up my par. I do so, and it looks like everybody else is just tapping in their discs. So that is the front 6. Stay tuned for the middle 6 coming hopefully as soon as possible. James playing really well. I'm trying to catch up. Robin and Avery behind. So I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned.